So hello everyone, hope you're doing well today. Welcome to this webinar, Get Ready for DASA Coach. We have a huge number of people attending and actually signing in, which is very good. But while many of us are safely sitting at home and working from home today, we are unmistakably living in uncertain times. The world has changed dramatically, and it's just in a number of weeks. And before we get started, my thoughts go out to all of you around the world who have been affected by this dramatic event. So let's hope that we can leave this behind us soon. And let me also close with a couple of good things. I see a lot of resilience, a lot of resourcefulness, and also in our, let's say, DASA domain, small DASA domain, but DevOps domain, I see a lot of partners actively shifting to new delivery forms or pushing more delivery forms, shifting to virtual and the virtual blended offering. So that's good to see. I'm very happy to be joined today by Daryl Shermer. Daryl is based in Southampton, one of our global DASA ambassadors. He recently joined us and we're very, very excited about that. Daryl is also the managing director of Kaizen Joy, a boutique DevOps and Agile consultancy provider, and also providing coaching, training. And he led a very interesting program. So when I first met him, he was the DevOps manager and Agile and DevOps coach for, let's say, one of the largest oil and gas companies in the world. And he's one of the 9 certified DASA DevOps coach facilitators. Based in Southampton, I'm Dimitri van der Broek. I'm not in Southampton. I'm here in the Netherlands, in a city called Dordrecht, doing this from my home office. I'm a founding member of DASA and work closely with DASA partners all around the world, and currently with all the whole community very involved in bringing this DevOps coaching program to customers and individuals and enterprises around the world. So thanks for joining. Daryl, would you like to say a few words of introduction yourself?
Well, just Dimitri, thank you for that introduction. And also thanks to everyone for joining. I appreciate it is difficult right now. Many of us are testing our home internet connections to the max and struggling sometimes with the quality of that. But yeah, it's great that you could join us, and we're really looking forward to this webinar.
Excellent. So next slide, Daryl. Thanks, please. So we'll be covering some interesting topics. So why are organizations investing in this DevOps coaching capabilities? Why is this interesting for learners and participants to join these courses and let's say upgrade your skills? Well, we're also looking quite in depth. We'll give you a pretty decent view about what it is and how it actually works. And we'll be covering how you can run your own first DASA DevOps coach program, how we can help you get started, how we can help you do and get activated in your marketing campaigns to support your marketing. And obviously, we all want you to join our movement of DevOps coaches. It's an exciting environment. We're an active community, and our intention is to get you join us and become part of our team. Daryl, next slide, please. So the recording will be available. There's a little bit of delay, but don't worry. I mean, I think we'll all be fine. So there is a question panel. So please drop your questions there. Both Daryl and I will try to keep an eye on it. So if we can answer them, we'll try to address it right away on the spot. And if not, we'd like to capture it till the end of the session. And I think we're aiming about 45 minutes, so to an hour max. And like to spend also enough time on the Q&A. So we're aiming to have the session about 40 minutes. And so if you can stay with us for an hour, we'll be completely fine. Next slide, please, Daryl. So there's some delay on the line, but don't worry about that. So
okay, I'm going to turn off my webcam because my computer's my.
no worry, Daryl.
Okay.
So Daryl, we're at slide 5 exactly. I mean, and this is an interesting one. Daryl, can you please take this slide because it's a real story.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so yeah, I'd like to talk to this slide because actually this is one of my stories. I back in 2016 was invited to take on a job where I was told we'd like you to lead an experiment, and your job title is that of a DevOps manager. Now, I'd never heard that job title before, so my response was, "That's great, but how do we measure success? If it's an experiment, is there an hypothesis?" And their response was, "We'll let you know." And my realization was this was actually the start of a DevOps coaching role, because for me to actually deliver that job, my first focus was to actually work with the stakeholders to define the product roadmap. They had no idea what they really wanted to deliver or achieve, and it involved value stream mapping, customer interviews, design sprints, and then the spinning up of 3 DevOps change squads all around product visions. And the whole process of defining working practices and principles was extremely challenging. However, we were able to deliver our first product proof of concept in just 3 weeks, and the second in just 6 weeks. And our client had never seen anything like it in terms of rapid product development. So it was deemed a great success. But my realization was this wasn't a DevOps manager role. This was really a coaching role, working with teams, getting them to be high performing, and really working across the business to help define the value stream.
Yes, and on top of this, Daryl, talking to experts around the world, many of them, they don't carry a coaching title in their role. Well, most of them, if they carry a title, it's typically an agile coach. But if you ask them if they are involved in some kind of coaching capabilities or things, then many of them do raise their hands. So from that perspective, it's also an interesting slide, because while many of us are not formally in a coaching role, many of us actually do need coaching experience and coaching capacities in our role. So thanks. So Daryl, I'm happy you closed your webcam as well. I will keep it on for the moment, but if the situation is deteriorating, then I will also close it down. But looking at the feedback from the audience so far, it seems to be working fine. So as long as it's working, I'll keep it on. So the coach program is the newest addition in the leadership certification, which is the top line in the DASA certification scheme. Of course, most of you are familiar with the fundamentals. There are the professional levels, and there are 3 leadership programs, which are positioned at the outer skirt of the competence model. Please give me the next slide. Which is yours, Daryl.
Yeah, so really, why do we want to invest in a DevOps coach? Well, really, I think when I've presented this slide before, I don't want to go into too much detail about the need to adopt DevOps. I think that is clear for a lot of our audience and a lot of people that we speak to. What is, however, the toughest challenge that they face, and this is being borne out by many studies, Gartner is one that we pick out here on this slide. But changing organizational culture really is the biggest challenge. And this is what a DevOps coach can really bring to your business, helping to work with teams to improve collaboration and cross-skilling and learning, helps develop the DevOps mindset, which then can help you translate that into pure value delivery for your business.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is from a organizational perspective. So I mean, we don't need to explain the need for DevOps, because organizations and their customers need it to deliver quality service faster and with the highest quality. But let's have a look at the next slide. Also from the learner perspective. So based on all the courses we've ran in the last 4 months, I tried to compile the key reasons why these experts are actually joining the program, or have joined the program. And they're listed over here. It's in career investment. I mean, many of them see that organizations are rapidly recruiting for coaches, and it's a strong investment in career. It's about purpose. You find many of individuals who love to coach, work closely with teams and individuals, and it's satisfactory for them to bring them to higher levels. It's also being connected with like-minded experts. I mean, the way also we're developing our coaching community to really link each other up, share information, bring each other to a higher level is also a thing which which is resonating. And 4 and 5, it's about being credible, relevant, obviously having fun, and at last also develop yourself. Many of the folks I've talked to are pretty strong consultants in specific areas, but it's an eye-opening experience if you also start looking at the coaching and coaching capabilities. It's a new set of skills which is required, and a new way of looking at things, and that development for many of them is also an exciting perspective of joining this coach program. I'm actually becoming a DASA DevOps coach. Next slide, please, Daryl. And what is interesting is just a couple of weeks back, I did a bit of research about job openings for DevOps coaches, and I found an interesting one from London, and the way they describe it, and you have the time to read it yourself, and you find it here in the second chapter, is it's very, very strong. The way that companies deliver software has fundamentally changed, and the companies that want to drive the change in the culture of through to the way software is released need an outside eye to make sure it's being done right. That's where you come in, and it's very specific, and I really like it because it also resonates exactly with what we are bringing to the table here. And so let's not spend too much time here on this slide, but you'll also get the slides and the recording afterwards, and have a look at all the openings which are out there. I think it also gives a very interesting view on what is happening in the market.
Just before we move on, I'd just like to mention, Dimitri, that I also run a DevOps meetup in Southampton, and just last week we were talking about this new DevOps coach opportunity, and the audience reaction to this slide was one of amazement that a job description was so closely matching the syllabus and the description of the DASA DevOps Coach program. And it was widely seen as being a huge endorsement for what it is that we've developed at DASA in terms of the DevOps coaching program. It's now sort of really hitting the mark within the business community.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's have a look at the what then. So yeah, what is it? How does this program looks like? So on the next slide, which is loading, you'll see some of the, let's say, the quick facts. By the way, all the pictures that you see in this presentation are from sessions that we ran all over the world. This was also a session, an evening session in Rotterdam, with top experts from all over Europe participating and providing inputs in the program before we actually made it live and available to the rest of the world. But what are we talking about? It's a 3-day program, and the initial setup is a 3-day classroom program with a lot of exercises, etc. So also with what's happening around the world with Corona, the core team is currently working on a virtual blended alternative. So I will tell you more in the detail, because we have courses planned all over the world, and most of them will not take place in the next coming weeks. And the demand is high for running virtual blended programs, and that's what we're working at. So the exam are both paper-based, and but a majority are taking online, web proctored. And target audiences is quite broad. So where are we today? So after the initial syllabus, first pilots, the internal launch, which happened last month, we are now at a global launch, and April onwards, we're going to roll out the program across the world. Next slide, please.
Yeah, I've got to say here, Dimitri, that I was actually, as you said at the intro, I was involved in the program development, and one of the to be trained. I must say that this experience, and this picture is just from that experience, was one of the best I've had in my coaching development. The companies represented, the people I met and interacted with and learnt from were exceptional. And I've got to say as well that the coaches that trained us, particularly ones from the International Coaching Federation, the ICF, really excelled in their coaching delivery and education. Just to put it in another way, this 3-day DevOps coach program really does cover what in the agile world would typically be a 6 to 9 day 3-course training program.
Right.
Very intensive, but absolutely packed full of learning.
Absolutely. Thanks, Daryl. So So yeah, please, this slide is the testimonial. So we took a slightly different approach from DASA perspective. If you look at how we developed and piloted a product, so typically we develop it with the training partners, courseware partners, and bring it to the market. In this case, there was a much more involved approach. So we tested it multiple times, got testimonials also along the way, and we had leading companies, and some of them are on this slide as well, who actually kicked in, stepped in, and shared their experience. Thanks, Daryl. The next slide. Your timing was spot on. Please.
So, what is the DASA DevOps coach in terms of its role, the scope, and the purpose? So, I don't know if anyone attending does work as a coach, but you'll know if you do that you really are supporting teams and the organization. In terms of a DevOps coach, this is founded on the DevOps principles and really focused on developing high-performing teams and enabling the related organizational culture change. The DevOps coach, like a typical coach, will operate at multiple dimensions. And if we just go through here, you see the starting point of coaching is understanding your own self. And when you start a coaching engagement, be absolutely present and in the space where you can actively coach your coachee. If you are distracted, if you are not focused, then it will really affect your ability to coach in that session. Once you understand yourself, you're then in a position to really help individuals improve through observation and guidance, and steer and guide individuals to create their own thinking and their own solutions to their own problems. We can then scale this up to work with teams. We're using, again, very much the core DASA DevOps principles as a way of driving this, but really working with teams to help them understand their need for innovation, collaboration, and accountability. And in terms of, in terms of organization, working with the organization to really help them understand the new capabilities that they need to develop, particularly as we transition into DevOps processes. We often have to embed skills within teams in order to cross-skill and improve the performance of teams. When we think of Dev and Ops, we put Dev and Ops together. When we think of DevSecOps, we put security professionals into that mix as well. And that whole scaling approach and enabling approach is really at the heart of what a DevOps coach looks to do within an organization, all linked to the ultimate vision of the organization they're working with. Now, a common question we're asked when we're delivering DevOps coach training is, does a DevOps coach need to understand technical DevOps? And our view is that a DevOps coach needs to understand DevOps fundamentals, okay, but really no more than at a level of understanding the component parts of DevOps within an organization, and understanding also the different dimensions of DevOps in terms of the pipeline and the whole process around DevOps implementation. We don't need to go into technical detail around DevOps in order to be a DevOps coach. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, now the other thing we've also realized that is that there is a fundamental difference between the role of a DevOps coach and that of a DevOps leader. And in terms of coaching, we are really focused on influencing, supporting others. The how part of change, and being an enabler and a catalyst for others to the skills and techniques and knowledge they need in order to deliver that change. Whereas a DevOps leader needs to be more accountable for delivery, more of a driving force, and focused very much on the what, the business outcomes of the change. Okay. I don't know, Dimitri, do you want to just mention that I think there's a DevOps leadership course in development right now?
Yes, indeed. So we are scoping the syllabus for the DevOps leader indeed. So the interesting thing is we made a deliberate decision to bring out coach first, because while many of us would intuitively think or say, well, we need a DevOps leader, it's actually the DevOps coach in the role that we defined, who make so much changes and necessary changes into any transformation. So that's why we phased it first. The DevOps coach and the DevOps leader is on the plan for this year. Absolutely. Thanks for asking.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of the actual DevOps coach competency framework, you'll see this differs from the DevOps competency framework, the DASA DevOps competency framework, because this is really drawn from the International Coaching Federation standard. And again, I'm not really going to go into the detail of this slide. It's something that I know we are working on to maybe present it slightly better. But really, what this is highlighting is that your foundation is one of presence, using active listening, then moving into DevOps principles, but all surrounded by a set of skills that we're all going to be fairly familiar with. Facilitation of workshops and sessions, mentoring others, consulting engagements, as well as coaching engagements as well. All of those things combine in order to build up the DevOps coach competency. Okay. And this is a slightly different way of saying the same thing, but really we need to, when we are in a coaching engagement, change between the different modes of coaching as we interact with the teams, individuals, and the organization that we're working with. Much of that will very much depend upon the maturity of different teams and the individual mindset and competencies of the individual teams that we're working with. And don't forget as well that organizational structure and culture will absolutely play a part in your strategy for working as an DevOps coach within an organization.
Yeah, and Daryl, so if you look at the previous slide, I mean, in this program, this 3-day program, I mean, both, I mean, the soft skills will be, there's a lot of attention, of course, to that, and we'll cover a couple of them. But we also look at the DevOps competences, you know, the flow, the principles, how transformations can be structured, and the whole idea is that this program will make you a very versatile person to be able to change between modes and the various audiences. So, so I think this is one of the most resonated thing, and that's about versatility, and that's also an eye-opening thing for most of the participants who join the program. So
absolutely. So let's take you into some of the detail around the different modules of the DevOps Coach program and some of the tools that we're using and learning with. So here are the 5 modules. How we sort of present them over the 3 days. You'll see that we start our training with the fundamentals of DevOps, with a real focus on the principles and how these can affect teams and organizations. The rest of the modules are really focused on developing the attendee or yourself as a coach within a DevOps context. Okay, I'm not going to go through into all of the detail here because we're going to cover some of this on the following slides. But you can see just from this presentation, it is a very full and rich training experience.
yes.
Some of the tools and the concepts that we explore on the training, are, are very much active listening. You can see on the image on the right, we've got some very active listeners there, very focused on what's being said in the room. Very much as well are the different approaches to coaching, the GROW model, the 4-phase coaching model, and the coaching kata as well, which I know we're going to cover off in a moment. Okay, so very much to focus on the different ways in which we will use techniques to interact with individuals, teams, and organizations in order to help them on their journey of change towards DevOps excellence. Now, when presenting this in a classroom environment, and this is one of our challenges as we move it to an online virtual environment, is that this coaching competency building is very much based around active learning. The process is, I would say, less death by PowerPoint or slide deck and more active learning activities, interactions, sharing experiences, and working through case studies to learn by doing. Okay, our final module is very focused around the art of being a DevOps coach and leading teams and organizations through a DevOps transformation. And just to illustrate one technique that we do use and how it all links back through to the DASA skills map and the knowledge area and the overarching principles, the 4-step improvement kata is one technique that we really can work with teams to use evidence-based management to drive change and improvement. Okay, by using fingerprinting type techniques, as we see in the DASA skills map, we can work with teams to understand the direction or the challenge they're looking to take on. We can also assess their current situation, where they are right now, and from that have a structured discussion where we can identify the next possible target condition that we're looking to achieve. For example, we might say that this team needs to increment up in terms of the courage and team building aspects of their profile. Okay, so we're going to challenge them to increment up one level in that space. The kata will then define a time box period in which that experiment will take place. And you then actively work with this team to conduct that experiment, take the interventions that you agree is necessary, and encourage and facilitate them through to that next level. So we are really focused around guiding teams and organizations through incremental change. Just a few things that we're going to cover in terms of the toolbox. Here's an example of the GROW model. For example, I actually did this, Dimitri, in our DevOps meetup last week. Yeah, totally unplanned. Somebody presented a problem, and we conducted a 5-minute coaching session using the GROW model.
Oh, cool.
Starting with the goal, what do we want to achieve? Moving to reality, asking where are you now, and getting a self-assessment. Yeah. Then moving to the options. Yeah, talking through different possibilities that this individual had to make the change they wanted, who needed to help them, and then agreeing some actions and a way forward. And it's an absolutely powerful model for coaching and working with individuals and teams to help them increment up through change.
Yes. So do you recall, Daryl? I mean, how much? I know there are a couple of exercises as well. I mean, because there are so many concepts and methodologies shared in the program. I mean, but the Grow model is a very specific and important one. It can be used for also for various target audiences. How much time is spent on this? Do you have any idea, more or less? I mean,
within the actual training program?
yeah.
Well, this is actually one that we introduce as an approach, but then have attendees actively practice. Because the only way you develop your skills in this space are to enact the Grow model and practice in real live environments. So that can be done in small groups, typically sort of probably three individuals, two actors in the space, one coach and the coachee, and then another observer to act as an independent view of what's happened. And it's a very, very powerful approach to developing those skills and driving learning. And this is something that coaches around the world know, that this is not an easy thing to learn and develop. And when you start this process, you realize that actually developing yourself as a coach is a journey that you're just starting on, and you can always improve in your ability in this area.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Okay, I'm just conscious of time. And we do have some other things, but I'm just going to skip through. I just want to move to this slide to talk about the need to switch to appropriate modes, and also do that in a very declarative way when you're working with teams. I find many inexperienced coaches pretty much working exclusively in the consulting mode, often providing answers to problems and maybe directions and a vision, and taking responsibility for, I'll get this done for you. Whereas at the other corner of this chart, we see that our coaching role should be one of developing or providing development focus for the coachee to help them build their competencies and their ways of working. Okay, and that's again very different to mentoring, where we might be providing a guide or some expert advice and acting as a role model.
Absolutely.
Finally, facilitation. Well, we can all recognize facilitation when we see it, and that's certainly not coaching or mentoring. Yeah, so yeah, a coach may have to adopt all of these roles, but be very declarative when you're working in different ways with your customers and clients, so they understand what it is you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. So and Daryl, on top of this is a very important thing throughout the program, isn't it?
Absolutely.
When to use what mode, not only understanding the different modes and how to work in them effectively, but also when to switch, depending on the situation or team maturity, and also to be able to switch on the fly to different styles where required. And based on the inputs I received from talking to coaches who completed the program, and I was in India 2 weeks ago, and I spoke to one of the DevOps experts from Wipro, Indian IT service provider. And he said, listen, what I learned also about those modes is that I would typically, based on my experience of 25 years of being in this domain, I will typically provide my answer on the fly and tell the customer what to do. And he said, and I learned as well to step back, wait, listen more, and before I actually provide an answer back. I'm sorry, my phone rang. It's switched off. So yeah, knowing yourself where you are and what mode to apply is a very important one. And we go through all of them, like the mentoring, being a guide on the side, and all of them are specifically covered and serve a purpose. They're all,
Exactly.
yes. So it's 10:43 here in Holland. So let's look at the final chapter and see how we can help you support running your first program. So if you are working at an enterprise, a corporate, or if you're working for a training company, a consulting company, your first program, you will need an expert in front of the class. So you can either invite one of the master coaches, and the master coaches are the key authors of the program, or you can invite one of the 9 certified DASA DevOps coach trainers, like Daryl. So we have 9 of them certified. More of them will follow around the world. So those are the 2 options you have. So if you invite one of the master coaches, it will also allow you to do a one-day train the trainer. And with a train the trainer program, you can also invite earmarked coaches or your experts and get them certified as well. So for training partners who want to work in the end with their own instructors, with their own facilitators, please bear in mind that you need to run or have them join a train the trainer program. By the way, we are running those programs around the world. Well, obviously, I mean, the ones which were planned in US and in India and in Europe have been cancelled for the moment, but we will soon resume that schedule and also see if we can bring them online as well. But a TTT is required for you to be able to conduct this training. It's different than all the other DASA programs. It requires more training, and that's it. So those are the 3 steps. Also follow our schedule. There's a link here. Visit DASA DevOps Coach page. You'll find all the updates and the schedules, and also the courses who will be running in a virtual classroom session. So if you're interested in joining or become a DASA coach or DASA DevOps coach trainer, join the updates on our website. Next slide, please. Yeah, so at this stage, we have 9 certified DevOps coach facilitators, both from India, by the way, also from Europe, not only Netherlands, but from Europe and in India. And we're growing this base of instructors. So those are the folks who are ready to roll and can help you run the first programs. Next slide, please. So we also have a marketing in a box for all DASA training partners.
I'll just jump in here to say that this marketing in a box is, to quote our marketing team, the most useful marketing in a box pack they have ever seen when it comes to providing all of the information and content needed to effectively present the coaching course in terms of promoting it and advertising it out to possible attendees. It's also really good in terms of the content, the PowerPoints and the fact sheets that can also be used within the training itself.
Absolutely. So for all of you who want to take this program forward internally or to your customers, when you're a DASA partner, you should have access to the marketing in a box. If not, reach out to us, but make use of those important resources, because they will help you plan the first programs. And from DASA perspective, we're also here to help you inform our global network of partners and customers if you're going to run the program, we'll also put it on our DASA DevOps Coach website for this program. Yes, please. So Daryl, we have just a couple of testimonials. Just if you could give me the next slide, because it's more about the idea before we open up the questions. So, by the way, this is Anu Ravi. I'm very, very proud about these testimonials. I mean, she's an agile coach at ANZ, but also the winner of the Leadership Agility Award. We have Sam here on the right. We're extremely proud to be working with him. But we also, in a previous slide, had Monish Sharma, also from India, and he was the winner of the Next 100 CIO Award and got nominated out of 4,000 experts. So, I mean, we have some very, very impressive people who went through the program and enjoyed it. So, we would like you to join our movement. So, link with us. Let us know how you would like to work with us. If you like to talk, write, or present about the program, get in touch with us. Encourage your organizations or learners to join your first program. We can help you out there. So let's not waste too much time, because I think we got the point across. Reach out to Daryl, myself, or the broader DASA team to take the next step. And Daryl, I would suggest that we open up for the questions, and if we have any questions pending. So guys, I'm looking at the question box, and I see one, and that is an interesting one from Laurie. Laurie, thanks for sharing. So the question is, can the train the trainer be done virtually? And at this moment, it's a not yet. That's the answer. So we are looking into it. We don't have a program ready yet, but we are looking into providing a virtual trainer. So it's probably one of our biggest challenges, because for most of our courses, the DASA programs, I mean, we have online train the trainers, and it's relatively easy, but this program is more intense than all the others, and requires a lot of interactions, and it's more focused on softer skills and interactions as any other course. So we will update you on this. So it will also be listed on the DASA DevOps Coach page. So the answer is not yet. Working on it. So we'll keep you posted.
Just to also say that it is possible, you know, we're pretty confident as a team that we can transition some of this to online training. Just that grow model that I explained earlier, if you imagine 3 people on a call, on a Zoom call or something, all connecting up, 2 acting as the coach and coachee, and 1 acting as an observer, that practice can be conducted online and can be as visible as and effective as it is in person.
Yes, absolutely. I have another question, and Daryl, can you please switch 1 slide back to the to 47? I don't know if you can see the, but just 1 slide back. So the question is about who all, I mean, and also from what region and countries have been involved, because I mentioned Holland and I mentioned India, and but actually, and you will find this slide, this picture is taken in Rotterdam. We had experts from all over Europe. So from Germany, from Belgium, from UK, from Turkey, top experts from Kairos, from Spain. So we had France, experts from all over the place participating in this program. So so it is, yeah. To answer one of the participants' questions, been tested and basically developed with inputs from many different experts from many different countries.
Absolutely. real step that as we start to deliver this training, there will be learnings and adaptations that we'll want to make. We really do practice what we preach in terms of DevOps mindset, and we will adapt this course as we practice it more within the community and learn as we go.
Yes. So I have another interesting question, and it is, would you recommend the fundamentals course before doing the DASA DevOps coach? And thanks for asking this, because this comes from Sally. There is no hard requirement for being DASA DevOps fundamental certified. It's not required. For all the folks who are not certified on fundamentals, we provide a self-reading about the DASA principles and the DASA competence model. You get it as part of the program, and we expect you to become prepared. However, I mean, of course, it is recommended if you would have taken the DASA DevOps fundamental certification, but it's not a hard requirement. So I hope I answer your questions. It is recommended, but it's not a hard requirement. Daryl?
What I might also say is that if anyone attends the course and finds that they really don't have enough DevOps knowledge to fully act as a DevOps coach, and I don't know if you can remember when I went through the 5 modules over the 3 days, really 4 of them were all about coaching. Only the first one was really about DevOps. But if you still feel that you don't know enough, then certainly the DASA DevOps Fundamentals course is an option you could take after the coaching course if you felt a bit or some extra knowledge in that space.
Yeah, I have a question from Annemieke Raven. I expect she's from Holland and I pronounce it correctly. And Daryl, this is probably one for you. The question is this course also useful for when the company is not yet so mature in agile practices?
Okay, yes, that's a very good question. Well, the simple answer is yes. DevOps, as we know, is really founded on agile. It's also founded on lean and Kaizen and lean thinking and Scrum and all these good things, right? It's something that when we are coaching teams, we are often referring to practices and approaches that are founded in agility. Okay, so we will incorporate agile, lean, Kaizen principles in all of our coaching training, so that you are fully equipped to conduct sessions with individuals and teams and organizations in an appropriate way.
Absolutely. So it makes a lot of sense as well. So, and about a question from Martin Kulier. I think Martin is from Austria, and if I read his question well, Daryl, he's looking for a current timetable for the next program to start. So in general, for all of you who are interested, there is a page on the DASA DevOps Coach website of all the courses which we know will be running or are planning to run. Also, the virtual classrooms will be listed there. So please keep an eye on that page, because you will get all the updates. There's another thing there. You can also leave your details on the DASA Coach website, leave your email address, and you will automatically stay tuned on all the updates and all the new things happening, and also the new courses that we are scheduling. So there are 2 ways on the DASA Devs website to keep you posted. And of course, the online programs, if they run in your time zone, you can join anyone you want. So when they're out there, that's a serious and a very important opportunity to take care of. Okay, is there, I have another question. So Ramesh needs to go. Thanks, Ramesh. See you next time. Munish, question from Munish. Is there any DevOps technical expertise required for the DASA DevOps coach training? So I think, Daryl, you did elaborate on that as well. Is there a technical expertise required to attend the program?
So I don't think so, is my answer. I've worked as a DevOps manager and a DevOps coach now for a number of years. I could not set up Puppet or Splunk or Kubernetes or any of the tools that are used in a DevOps environment. I'm not a technical, I don't have a technical background. And this is the case as well for many of the 9 DevOps coach trainers that graduated. We've all said you don't need a technical background, but you do need an understanding of the context within which you're operating. And so as well as DASA DevOps fundamentals, which may act as a good source of information, one of my top tips is take a look at Exebia Labs DevOps periodic table.
Right.
And as you would if you're doing a chemistry course, use this as a learning object to understand the different components, popular components that are used within a DevOps implementation from a technical perspective. Yeah, but so that is not the focus of the coaching program itself.
Absolutely. So let's I think we have to slowly start closing it, Daryl, and thank our audience for being with us for this hour.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for those great questions.
Yes, so thanks all for joining. I hope you liked it. Stay safe, and get in touch with us if you're interested in taking the next steps. And for now, thanks a lot for joining, and we look forward to talking to you next time. Have a great day, and take care. Thanks a lot.
Thank you all.
Thank you.